8:33 on the Morning Express on CHRI. And in town this week, the president of Compassion Canada, Mr. Barry Slauenwhite. Barry, thank you so much for dropping by CHRI.
Good morning, Brock. Great to be here.
So what brings you to town this week?
Well, it came in for the National Prayer Breakfast originally, and then had some great opportunities last evening to meet with a group of our volunteer advocates here in the Ottawa area. These are the people, kind of our feet on the ground, if you will. And so it was wonderful to get together with them.
You've gone through some very public health challenges in in recent years, really. Would you be willing to comment a little on those, especially the most recent things that you've been through and kind of how you're doing now?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to just express my appreciation to many of your listeners who have been praying for me. I feel a little bad because it seems like I get more prayer than what the average person deserves, because I've had a few challenges over the years. Being in Haiti during the earthquake was the most recent one, other than just what I've gone through now. So the recent journey was the cancer journey. So about a year ago this time, I was diagnosed with lymphoma, stage 3 cancer, and have gone through the whole regime of chemotherapy and radiation. And God has been awesome. And I know people here at the station, Diane and many others here at the station, have been praying. And many of your listeners have been praying, and I can report today that God is alive. He actually hears prayers, and I am a walking testimony to that.
Now, we should mention that our listeners can stay connected with you via your personal blog, right, which you started up, I guess, just over a year ago now.
Yeah, I decided to go public with this because I figured if I know God the way I think I know him, that is, that he is a faithful God, that no matter how this journey turns out, I know God's going to be with me. And if he chooses to heal me, great. If he chooses to walk with me through this journey, great. My prayer to him was, Lord, whatever method you choose, would you allow it to bring glory to you? Don't let it be wasted. And so I decided to go public with it, created this blog, and people from all around the world are responding at how much God has ministered to them. So I'm humbled by that.
Now, you can visit the blog if you can spell Barry's last name. That's the key thing with the blog.
That's the trick. It's a code.
Because it's bslaunwhite.wordpress.com.
That's right, yeah.
So Slauen, bslaunwhite.wordpress.com. Compassion Canada is celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. Big deal.
It is a big deal. 50 years since this ministry began in such a humble setting in the basement of a home of some volunteers way down in Chatham, Ontario, and moved to London in 1972. And we're celebrating 50 years. It's going to be a fantastic time for us. It already is this year. We're in celebration mode. And for 30 of those years, I've had the privilege of being part of Compassion. So that makes me almost as old as Noah.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because that's a fair bit of time since 1983 that you've been with Compassion.
Yeah.
When you think back over the last 30 years, what are the high points that come out?
Well, when I joined Compassion, we had 45,000 children sponsored worldwide. That's with all the Compassion entities, Compassion USA and Canada, 45,000 worldwide.
Okay.
Today we have 1.4 million children worldwide.
Wow.
And there are 12 of us funding countries, Canada being one of the first ones, and now many around the world. The impact of the ministry over those 30 years has been, I've had a front row seat to watch that. So the children that were in the program when I joined are now adults. They're pastors, they're teachers, they're business people, they're politicians, they're great moms and great dads, they're church leaders, Sunday school teachers. So I have a front row seat to watch all of that unfold over the years, and it's absolutely amazing.
Recently, the results of a major study were released on the efficacy of child sponsorship. Compassion, I know, is heavily involved in that. And before I let you go, I have to ask you about this because it appears to me that the results were very favorable for Compassion. Could you talk a little bit more about the study and what they found?
Well, child sponsorship has become a big thing around the world. There's some 9 million children sponsored by hundreds of organizations around the world. It's a $6 billion a year industry, if you will, if you put it that way. And no one, to our chagrin, no one's ever asked, "Is it really work?
Yeah.
Is it effective?" We know. I mean, I know anecdotally, and you, Brock, you've seen child sponsorship up front in your travels, but most people have never had that privilege, and so it's one thing for us to say it works, being our program. It's another thing for some professional, some world-renowned researcher who has objectivity to go in and take the cover off or lift the roof and look at our programs and say it works or it doesn't. So Dr. Bruce Wydick, a world-renowned researcher from the University of San Francisco, he decided to ask this question. And so he wanted to know, with all this money, with all of these children, is it really effective? And so he approached many of the larger child sponsorship organizations and wanted to do research. Compassion said yes. And so he went ahead and he did this massive study. He interviewed over 10,000 people. And the findings were phenomenal. If you have a chance to look at at Christianity Today, this edition that just came out, Faith Today next month will have an article in it. It's hitting the press all over the world now. And basically what he has proven with this research is the compassion model, the child development model through the local church, the compassion model absolutely works.
Well, I know a lot of CHRI's listeners sponsor Children with Compassion. If perchance you have not heard of Compassion, check them out at compassion.ca. The president of Compassion Canada in town this week, Barry Slauenwhite, joining us here at the CHRI studios. And again, follow along with Barry's personal journey as well at his blog, bslauenwhite.wordpress.com. Thank you so much for coming in, Barry.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brock,
your time.
and thanks to all your listeners. God bless.